Hey guys, what's up? Jared here, Dex and Dice, Ramblings of an LGS owner. This is actually take two because I just wasn't happy with the first take, apparently. But anyways, here we go. So the point in this video is going to be pretty much the Pokemon market correction that we are seeing and how it's going to correlate into weeding out the fakes, the fair weathers, all that good stuff, kind of like I mentioned in my previous video. And I'm not going to say this is going to happen tomorrow or within the next 2 months or whatever, but me personally, I give it a timeline of within the next 2 years. And I know that's a pretty broad paintbrush to give a timeline, but here we are. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you can go and check TCG Player. Boxes are getting really close to MSRP, which MSRP is supposed to be $165 a box. And when that happens, I don't think even MSRP gang will be happy when that happens, but I'll try to cover that a little bit later into the video if I remember, because squirrel brain. But I, tinfoil hat theory, personally think that the facility in North Carolina or whatever is up and running. I do believe that because a lot of the products that I've been getting in these restocks or whatever, like this last wave with Chaos Rising, Perfect Order, and even with Pitch Black, a lot of my booster boxes had super loose wrapping on it. And I'm not talking about like just a little bit of giveaway. I'm talking about like, holy shit, if I didn't know that this came from my distro in a sealed box and everything, I would probably think it was resealed. They were that bad. So there were not, holes or anything like that, but it was just super loose. And I think they're probably just testing the facility, seeing what it's capable of doing. And because they're using it, costing them money, they're pushing out the products that it makes just to try to recoup something, which is understandable. But with the extra little bump of stuff that we've been seeing, and it's causing such a ripple that it's causing in the Pokesphere, I honestly don't think there is a lot of time left for a lot of these fairweather, PokeTuber kinds of people. And like by PokeTuber, I just mean in general, people talking about the market, selling singles, bulk, shit like that. Like how they started their stuff with Pokemon stuff. We'll see what happens. Kinda wouldn't be too surprised to see them start inching more towards like Lorcana or other TCGs just because they can see the writing on the wall and they know that their grift is about up, it's on its last legs, so they need to start finding something else. And I want you guys to try to pay attention to the people that you watch to see if you notice them starting to do that or not. Be it just mentioning another card game or them adding another card game to their inventory or whatever. Small little baby steps, man. You gotta be able to like catch this shit and notice the small little details before you get blindsided, right? Or it becomes such a normal thing you automatically just think, oh no, they've been talking about this for a long time, this is organic. It wasn't organic. Anyways, if the small increase is doing what it's doing, boxes will get to MSRP again, which is fucking fantastic. Let me be myself and go on the line here to be like, I wish it was MSRP. I wish I could call up my distro and get a restock whenever the fuck I wanted to, within reason. I don't want them to print the shit out of everything to where my distro is sitting on 50,000 cases again like they were previously, and I have to buy them for $95 to $105 a box, and I could only sell them in store for $110 to $120. I don't want that shit. only large enough stores with large enough volume are okay with that shit. Someone like me, not so much. I don't want to buy a case of booster boxes at $600 because they're $100 a piece, and I end up making $10 a piece on each box. I make $60 per case. Woohoo. I can't buy 30 cases at one time to make that worth my while. You get what I'm saying? So, anyways, I want people to also watch MSRP Gang when this happens, because I am pretty certain that MSRP Gang consists of two types. The type that remembers the old days, when the Eye of Sauron wasn't on Pokemon, when you could buy boxes out in the wild and on TCG Player for fucking $90 to $110 a box, $120. Person number two, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, and I only know this because I've been through this before, and I have watched, listened, read so many other shits about this that I know it's a higher probability than a lot of people want to give it credit for. But person number two of MSRP Gang is the person who needs that entry point to be lower than MSRP so they themselves can get in and buy multiple cases and crack them open and sell the singles and the hits and stuff, especially the hits, for hundreds of dollars per card and all that good stuff. They need that entry point to be below MSRP to make it worth their while to buy those cases and make their profit margins larger on the shit that they sell from cracking those cases. Those are arguably the two main groups in MSRP Gang, because like your actual players and your collectors and stuff like that, once it hits MSRP from what they've been used to over the last three years or so, you're not going to hear a fucking peep out of them. They're going to be happy they're not dropping $200 plus on a booster box anymore. You won't hear jack from them. You really won't. If it does go below MSRP, because us shops we start acquiescing, whatever that big word is that I know what it means but obviously can't say, to the super loud crowd of, I remember what it used to be 120. I'm not buying until it gets 120. Rah, 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 rah. And we're like, well, fuck, if I have to move product and make it down to 120, I guess I have to do this. Then, the collectors and stuff like that are going to be super happy about that, but you still won't hear a peep from them about that. They're just going to be like, oh shit, it's cheaper. Cool. But if that does happen and boxes go back down to 120 a box, 90 to 120, because a lot of places on TCG Player were selling at distro cost, if not lower, just to get them the fuck off the books. Even Mason has said that he had like a wall of shit that he was having to fire sell essentially just so he could make his fucking payroll. I don't want to get to that position again as a shop. That is a terrible place to be in. And I know that a lot of you are going to be like, nah, man, even if it does happen, I'm going to hold. I'm going to diamond hands this shit. I'm going to buy so much. I'm just going to keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. And that's awesome, boo-boo. You do you. You're big enough to possibly do it. You've got enough capital to sit there on that shit to possibly wait the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it might be, until there's another Pokemon boom for you to sell those X amount of year-old booster boxes or something for $900 a piece now. Congratulations, you win. Do you want a cookie kind of thing, Because again, I've been here. I have not had a snowball moment or anything like that, like a lot of other newer shops have had, to where like now they're making millions a year or whatever, Like I don't have that going for me, so I'm going to pretty much be probably right back to where I was when this happened previously with Pokemon, to where I'm just going to be like, it's not worth me carrying, man. There's no sense in me buying this shit, selling it, making $10 a booster box when it sells, because if it's so readily available, everyone just goes out and gets it wherever the fuck they can get it, right? If they can go to Walmart and buy it there on their way to Walmart while they're buying milk and all that good shit, they probably won't come to your shop to buy the same exact fucking booster box for the same exact fucking price while they're at Walmart or Target grocery shopping or getting clothes or whatever, right? So like, your volume in your shop is probably going to go down when this happens. Most of us won't have the capital to just sit on these boxes. We'll have to make the hard decision to stop carrying it, or we only buy a case at a time and we just pack that shit out for our regulars that come in, and play during our leagues and stuff, so they have packs to crack. You're going to have to pick one or the other, is essentially what it's going to boil down to with shops of my size. We'll see what happens when that happens too. I'm curious to just see what happens then, But I do believe that when this happens, not if, but when, and again, I'm not saying that the Poke Grift is going to stop tomorrow or 2 months from now. I give it about a solid 2 years. When this happens, I really do just want to see what happens to everyone, where all the PokeTubers end up going. Do they vanish like farts in the wind, or do they migrate to One Piece, Lorcana, or do they just kind of go back to selling shoes or whatever the hell they might have been doing before the Eye of Sauron came onto Pokemon and put it in their purview to do what they do, And that's not really any shade. It's a fact of life. You're going to have grifters. You're going to have these dickholes that do that. It's a thing, right? There's nothing you can do about it. A lot of the times you don't notice it until it's too fucking late, and you just chalk it up to a life experience, a learning lesson, if you will. Life lesson. Boom. There, that's the word I was looking for. But I don't think that you're going to see a lot of them actually stand tall or stand through or whatever, soldier through this. Because if it hits MSRP and it goes below MSRP, that means that the product is readily available. That means that everyone can just go out and buy Pokemon packs if they want to. That means that the cards that you're trying to sell won't fetch a premium the way that they currently do, because everyone will just have the shit all over the place. Bulk will be all over the place again, and all these weird little offers you see where it's like $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 per thousand for some Pokemon bulk, that'll go away. There will be so much shit floating around, you will literally see back down to a normal level of about $5 per thousand. If you have hollows, reverse hollows, or whatever, sure, it might be like 8 to 10, maybe, if you're lucky. But it's going to be all over the place. And then what are you going to do when your volume on your store for singles and shit goes from, and I'm just throwing numbers, right? Goes from $400 a week to $150 a week. Are you legitimately going to hang in there and ride out this, this bear market for X years when you were making $3,000 a week doing the exact same thing, but now it's only netting you $150? We'll see. We'll see. Again, I've been here before. I know what this is like. I also know that despite what people say, history does not repeat itself. History rhymes, okay? It will sound and look a hell of a lot like something else, but it won't be the exact same thing because it can't be the exact same thing. It'll be really close. But just from going through this with Pokemon and when fucking Magic had the stupid little crash and Yu-Gi-Oh was sucking for so many years there, this is not, I'm not going through a crash again or a market normalization with Pokemon, what we're seeing right now. This is not new to me. Okay, it's not going to be new to anyone who has been in this game for 5 or more years. If you're just here for the last year or so, it's going to be a whole brand new game for you. And dear Lord, my hat goes off to you. And, I hope you can weather the storm. But our industry needs this right now. Even if it eliminates me, okay? As I said in the other video, even if it eliminates me, the industry needs this cleansing to happen. We need to get rid of these fair weather flipping little bastards, man. And when I say that, I do mean basement sellers. I do mean these pop-up stores that you see in like malls and all that good stuff, to where it's, all they do is Pokemon and One Piece, and that's it. That's all. That's it. That they're just riding the wave on that, And the gas stations and like sporting goods stores and car dealerships and all the other shit that are dipping their toes into doing Pokemon and One Piece and all that shit, like, the industry needs this to happen to wash everyone who's just here for the quick buck out. Just here for the quick buck, the clout, the fucking ad revenue, the, Discord full of people that you shovel to your website to make money off of them, stuff like that. Like, all viable strategies to make money. I get that. I'm not that you do you, boo-boo. Like, you're an asshole, but like, you do you, boo-boo. I get it. We need something like that to happen to wash all these fuckers out. And again, if I end up being one of those fuckers, I end up being one of those fuckers. It is what it is. But our industry needs this. And you can disagree with me if you want to. Tell me why you disagree in the comments. But we need something like this to happen. And I guess on that note, I'll get off of here and stop bothering you guys. And let you have a decent little Sunday, I suppose. You guys have a good one. And as I always like to say, life is not a dick. You don't have to take it so hard. You're a trash can, not a trash can't. And if you made it this far, rawr. If you're watching, you're fucking awesome. Didn't know you watched my stuff, dude. That's really cool. You should chime in more often. It's kind of nice to see other creators and all that good stuff just, I don't know, acknowledge that you exist, So, yeah. And any of you other fuckers that watch me, that lurk, just poke in and say, hey, it's just, I'm an asshole, but I'm not an asshole. It's cool. Like again, it's kind of nice to get acknowledged that you exist, even if you might hate my guts or whatever. How's it going? I'm still here. You're still here. Hey. Anyways, you guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.